let's see if now we got this working a little bit better. This link seems to be going a little smoother. Let me tweet this out real quick so this way we can get some more people in here. I didn't name this space like I usually do, but it's always something, man. The devil is always getting busy. All these technical difficulties always happening, and I don't know why. But we are here. All right. Appreciate you guys tapping in to First Call. As always, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm trying to tweet out this link right now to people inside the Discord. So if you are here this morning, welcome, welcome, welcome. I apologize for being a little bit late. I don't know what was going on with my streaming service or my Wi-Fi, my computer, as to why everything was glitchy. But let's see. All right, cool. I see you guys in here. Let me pull up the chat box. Okay, I see you. Khadijah, what's up, my girl? All right, it's much better now. Awesome. So, I didn't get the ability to name this space like I did the other one, but it's okay. Because what I want to talk about this morning, I want to be brief, and I just want to touch on the topic where this week, everything that we've been talking about building into the new year is preparing for the new year, right? Taking that next step forward, what it is that we have to do to I should move First Call to YouTube always. Okay. I might try to do that. The video element makes that sometimes a little hard, but I can do that. We'll talk about it because I do have some changes coming in the new year to First Call, so planning out some stuff right now with the team. But what I've been focused on this week and what we've been talking about is really transitioning into the new year, preparing for the new year, how to get ready for this time, and like what goes into that, right? On Wednesday, I spoke about inspiring others, right? One of our jobs as people who are dedicated to personal development and getting better is not only inspiring ourselves to work hard and to get to that next level and see ourselves achieve the most that we want to achieve, but we also need to be able to be an example for other people so that this way our journey becomes easier because we're surrounded by people that want to see us win. We're in an environment that breeds success and that cultivates learning and getting to that next level. And I was talking about everything that we need to be able to do to order to get to that place to inspire others, but also for us to continue to make an impact, not just in our household, not just for ourselves, but in everybody that sees us. But it's very hard to make an impact. What I've realized, it's very hard to have influence. It's very hard to show up every day, to be consistent when you don't have other things aligned, right, in a certain area. And one of the ways that you can really get aligned with your goals and your dreams, and for you to really be able to take significant strides forward and to make consistent impact, is through having stronger mental fortitude, right? As you're going into this new year, one thing that can really inspire you, one thing that can really get you better, one thing that can really get you to that next level is having stronger mental strength, because that mental strength, being mentally strong, can be the thing that pushes you through to that next level, that keeps you going when you don't feel like going, and that allows you to now inspire others, that allows you to continue to stay focused on your goal, that allows you to stay dedicated to the task and continuously pushing and striving and getting better, right? And when you think about the definition of being mentally strong, right? It's someone who is in tune with his or her emotions, her own body, their thoughts, and they're able to have a positive outlook on life for most things, right? And I talked about on Wednesday in terms of impacting others, one of the things that you have to do is have your energy, right? You guys heard of, I think it was last week, I talked about having the right attitude. These are all the things that are required for us to really be the best versions of ourselves. And for us to really be able to practice these things on a day-to-day basis, it requires us to be mentally strong, because we understand that there are going to be things that we encounter. There are going to be setbacks. There are going to be failures. There are going to be pains. There are going to be hurts. There are going to be moments where you're not going to feel like keep going. You're not going to feel like showing up. You're not going to feel like doing the work. And you're just going to be, your spirit is going to be drained. Your fatigue is going to set in. So how do you get to that point where now you're able to stay consistent through next year? You're able to start building the plan to keep going, where you're able to inspire others despite the times where you don't feel like doing it. That mental strength is going to be able to be that key for you, because mentally strong people, right? What happens is they have that ability to unlock the door of courage, to be able to bounce back stronger when life storms hit them, right? And we know that life is going to hit. We know there are going to be storms. We know there's going to be trials, tribulations, obstacles. That's a part of the game, right? But do you have the ability to now avoid depression, avoid anxiety, avoid some of these negative thoughts and emotions that are able to keep us in a place of standstill, that keeps us stagnant, that keeps us in this place of purgatory, right? And the key question is, can you develop a stronger mindset? Can you come to life every day with a stronger mindset? And the answer to that is absolutely. It's a behavior trait. We can all develop and improve. We can all have a stronger mindset and a stronger way of thinking. But at some point in our life, right, the pains that we experience, the setbacks that we encounter, these are going to now force us, right, to have to control these emotional triggers and these thoughts that we have in a very successful way. And what I mean by that is, if we allow our minds to take control of us, if we allow certain thoughts to run rampant, if we allow certain things to just become, like unleashed, then we lose control over the situation. We lose control over the mental fortitude that we're trying to build, because we have to be in control of the situation at all times. And there are going to be times, obviously, where you're not going to have, you lose your parent, right? Or you lose a best friend, or you just lose a job at a time when you can't afford to lose it. Whatever the case may be, like, we're always going to experience certain things at certain points that are going to be significant blows to us. And at that moment, we're not going to know how to react, or we're not going to know how to necessarily control it. But at the same time, if we make the conscious decision that, you know what, I might not have everything under control in this second, in this moment, but I know I'm going to get it together. I know that I'm going to grasp it. I know that I'm going to get in alignment with what it is that I need to accomplish. Like, I'm not going to allow this one setback to define everything else from me, right? Even if that moment you can't make that strong conviction, like you don't know how you're going to get through it, but you just know that you're not going to stay in this emotional state, that is the mental strength that you have to practice every single day, right? And the thing is, like, we talk about fear all the time, but fear is that thing that allows us to not be able to be in control of everything that happens in here. Because we run rampant with all of the situations, all the scenarios, all the outcomes that have the ability to really hurt us and have the ability to really, not work in our favor. It's crazy because a lot of us might have optimistic thoughts, or we might think we're optimistic people, right? But the laws of just polarity and the laws of just gravity and just negativity allow certain things to still creep in and still make a major impact on us personally. And I don't care like what you might have, a high level of personal confidence, you might have a high level of motivation, and and a high level of just belief in yourself, which we all should have. But again, there are going to be situations that we face that are going to set certain fears inside of us because we don't know how the outcome is going to look. And I'm experiencing that right now in a few different areas in my life, right? But I don't allow that to change my attitude. I don't allow that to change my enthusiasm. I don't allow this uncertainty to change my passion. That's what I need you to understand. That despite all these things that go on, despite all these variables that can work against you, 75% of our fears, they really never come true. So why waste the time thinking about it? Why allow your mental resiliency to take a hit because we have a fear that might not necessarily come true, or it's a scenario that can be an outcome, but that's not the variable that is the biggest obstacle, or it has the biggest odds of working against us, right? And what I mean by that is this: the odds of you succeeding and the odds of you of failing can be exactly 50%. But your belief in that 50% is going to decide and define how far you actually get on progressing on that goal and what the outcome is going to be. Because we got 50% here, 50% there. It's a coin flip, heads or tails. Whether you win or whether you lose. Whether this trade is going to work in your favor or whether it's not. Whether this bet is going to hit or whether it's not, right? Whether you get this job or whether you don't. Whether you fill out this application, they give you a call back or they don't, right? Like most things is a 50-50 coin flip, right? But our confidence that we have towards the situation should be on the 50% side, where it's like, all right, I got this. I'm going to win this. You know what? I'm in good hands. I know I did the work. I know I applied the way that I should have. I know I filled out the application and I put forth the best effort. I know I did what I had to do and I controlled what I could control. If that's your mental state to the situation, then guess what happens? The situation then, whether you get it or not, does not define how you feel about yourself. It doesn't crush you internally. It doesn't destroy you. It doesn't stop you from moving forward. We got to master these emotions. And I talked about last week mastering your attitude. A part of mastering your attitude is mastering your emotions, so the dominant thought dictates the end result, right? Meaning, if you think you're going to fail, you've already convinced yourself you will. But if you think you're going to succeed, you've already convinced yourself that you will. And just because that specific outcome in that one variable, in that one situation might not work out in your favor, does not mean that you're still not convinced that you will succeed. You have to believe that your success is more important and is going to happen more times than your failures. And avoiding this mindset, avoiding the fact that you think that you're going to lose, that the odds are stacked against you, that you can't achieve it, right? Having that power of positive thinking, that is going to allow you to have the best chance of succeeding in life. And that is going to allow you to have that mental strength to keep showing up despite the fact that certain things might not go your way. Reframing your mind, right, to think positively, to think at the best situation at all times, to master your emotion. Give yourself some time to understand this. Reframing your mind with this type of technique, it takes time. But you know how it's built? Through repetition. You will change your outlook from negative to positive when you change the repetition of how you think about yourself. about how you think about the outcome of situations, how you think about the outcome of your scenarios. Our emotions play a big role in this. And our negative thoughts and the negative situations that we encounter, how we attack them, how we think about them, is going to define how we ultimately succeed in them. So it's important that we understand, we acknowledge these emotions, these feelings, and we have to understand how they affect our decisions. It's important, guys, that we don't simply just be able to. Some of us are tapping into our emotions, right? Some of us are starting to be more emotionally aware. We're starting to understand our trigger points. We're starting to understand when certain people might spark up certain things inside of us, or certain reactions, or certain outcomes, certain environments allow certain emotions to kind of flare up. Like, we're kind of making understanding this emotional get or like connection, right? But what you have to do also is make sure that you're aware, not just of acknowledging that what these emotions are and like how they spark up and like what that causes you to do, like what that causes from you internally, but you have to be able to now point out how it affects your decisions. Like, how does certain things allow your behavior to change, right? And that's what a lot of people who are caught up in terms of doing certain things that like kind of have a hold on them, whether it's an addiction, right? If you read up on addictions, a lot of times there is something that's a trigger for you that gets you to start behaving in that way, where it's like, okay, you hear something, so or you feel something, so it causes you to take a drink, or it causes you to to do something that you don't, or I won't say don't want to do, but that's not the best for you. So when we're a part of this journey where we're being aware of our emotions, what we then have to do is make sure that we're also aware of how it affects our decisions. Because our decisions are what matters. And the more decisions that we make is what's going to continue to influence us in our mental fortitude. So as you're getting stronger, as you're setting new goals, as you master your emotions and you're really getting to this point of where you're trying to have a positive mindset and a positive frame, make sure you're reviewing yourself, checking yourself constantly. Why? Because when you are now checking yourself and you're reviewing yourself, you're now holding yourself accountable. And when you're holding yourself accountable, then you now have a clear measure for yourself on how to gauge your progress. And you can do this very tangibly, right? And what I mean by this is you can make a very physical list, review this list, and then that can help you also now build this accountability in the sense of, all right, I want to get more things done. I'm trying to become stronger mentally. I'm trying to become more successful. So what do I need to do? What you need to do is to take action. What you need to do is stop psyching yourself out with theory and all these hypothetical situations that might work in your favor, that might not, that could work for you, that could not, right? And most of us, when it comes down to overcoming certain obstacles, most of the habits that we have, like we have old habits, right? We have behaviors that have been ingrained in us for years. So if we don't have the intent to change it, and if we don't have the strong will, because you got to think, old habits do not die hard, right? You have to have that strong intent, that strong desire for change that you're going to make it happen, right? Where if you don't have that accountability with yourself, then it's going to be very hard for you to be able to handle certain situations that you don't control, right? So a good starting point to becoming mentally stronger is to literally take accountability for not only your emotions, but your decisions and your actions. And a good, easy way for you to practice this is just making a list and writing down some of the short term things that you want to do, that you want to get done. Why? Because it makes it real. It makes you have to make it accountable. And it's no longer a false promise to yourself, right? Being committed to your goal will not only improve your mental strength over time, but it will also help you improve developing new relationships, dropping old habits, developing better methods of doing things, becoming more efficient, right? A lot of us, when we're trying to get stronger, the reason why we are falling short and we are not able to really get that strength that we want and we're still at a weaker point is because we have not held ourselves accountable to a higher standard. You might have held yourself accountable to this level. You might have held yourself accountable to this point, up until this level in your journey. But what about this next level up here? What about the higher standard that you want to achieve? What about this new level that you are now encountering? Are you willing to hold yourself to a higher level? Think about this, right? We've got the king and queen of England, that the Duchess, like Prince Michael or Harry and his wife Meghan. I don't know the whole connection there, but think about that. Do you think, right? You remember when he was getting married to her and the news media coverage that was covering her, and they were like, is she built for this, essentially? Or they were questioning a lot of like if she had the things to be able to join the royal family, right? Why did they do that? Because they were making sure, like, that was their way of holding her accountable, that she in a position now to be able to take advantage of this new situation that she was entering, this new role that she was becoming, this new head figure that she was going to be. Is she going to be able to step up to the plate and embody that role of queen or duchess or princess? Think about your next level of your life the very same way. Are you in a position now where you have the mental strength, the mental fortitude, the behaviors, the habits, the disciplines in order to take on this new role that you want to have? The queen that you are, the king that you are, the manifestations that you're talking about, the millionaire that you're going to be. Are you prepared for that? And if you are prepared, then the accountability starts before you get there, right? The behaviors start before you get there. You don't become a queen and start acting like a queen. Just like in Princess Diaries, right? She had to go through the classes before she was able to become the Queen of Genovia. She had to be able to know how to walk like a queen, sit like a queen, talk like a queen, handle herself this way. And for us, we have to ask ourselves, are we handling ourselves for our next self? Are we handling ourselves today for that next version of us? And if not, then you have to be able to start doing these things daily, continuously, because that is what's going to allow us for us when we get there, for us to be able to be prepared for it, handle it, and not squander it. How many times have you guys seen people who are celebrities or people who reach certain levels of fame or success, and you see them fail and they squander it and they just throw it away? And you were just like, if that was me, I wouldn't be in that position. Think about it. How many people you know had people who sacrificed everything for their children to go to college, and those same children didn't even apply themselves when they were on campus? All they did was party, skip class, and end up getting on academic probation, right? And you were like, man, there's somebody out there who would have killed for them to have that situation. There's mental fortitude, there's mental strength that's required at every stage of our life. And if we don't prepare, it's not when you walk on campus that you flip that switch and you say, okay, now I'm ready for this. It's prepared in high school, right? You don't prepare. And then what's college preparing you for? Your career. So this way, when you walk inside that Fortune 500 company, you know how to behave, you know how to act, you know how to be prepared for it. So then when you're in this Fortune 500 company, you're now preparing for what? managerial roles, executive roles, C-suite roles, or you're preparing for the next journey, whether it's entrepreneurship or you understand like that's not for you. But every level that we have in life is there's a next step up. And if you don't have the mental strength and fortitude before you even get there, if you don't have the behaviors, if you don't have the habits, if you don't have the relationships, if you don't have the ability to develop better methods, right, of doing things, by the time you get there, the environment, the pressure, the level is going to be too much for you and you're going to crumble, you're going to fail, you're going to squander it. You're going to fall underneath the temptations and the pressure. And our goal is for that not to happen. Our goal is for you not to waste this chance. Our goal is for you to be able to dive in and take advantage of this full opportunity. And you know how you're going to be able to do that? Is by focusing on making yourself happy first. Whatever situation that you're in, whatever decisions that you have to encounter, right? Or situations that you encounter and decisions that you have to make. What's going to allow you to be ready for that new level, for you not to waste it, for you not to squander it, and your mental fortitude to be even stronger, is for you to look at yourself and say, what do I have to do to be happy here, but still allow me to reach my goals? That's what you got to do. You might not want to work that 9 to 5 anymore. Like you're so tired of your boss. You're so tired of the way he behaves and the things that he or she does and the way that you feel like you're being exploited, right? But you understand you need this to put food on the table. You understand you need this to progress through your career. You know you need this right now for this level and stage that you're in so you can fund your trading account. What do? You focus on making yourself happy first and then finding how it aligns with with where you're trying to get to. Yeah, you might not want to wake up every day and show up to the office, but you understand that when you're at the office, maybe having your own little area, having your own time, having your own set routine, being in control of your projects is the way that you can take control of a situation that you otherwise didn't feel like you were in control of. You feel mentally stronger if you are happy. It's a given. It's a given. When your emotions are down in the dumps, when you're in pain, when you're hurting, when you're sad, when you're mad, when you're angry, how is your mental state typically at that time? It's weaker. Aren't you more vulnerable? Aren't you more triggered? Aren't you more in a situation where you're like, where you're easier to react instead of being able to attack? So what you got to do at all times is trying to say, I'm here. I might not like all the parameters around why I'm in this situation, but what can I do to make myself happy first? And it's time to take that power back, take that time back, and really start focusing on your happiness. Even when you're trading, you might not control the FOMC. You might not control the Fed. You might not control the red days. But what can make you happy in your trading journey? Maybe for you, it's all right. For me, it's seeing that I'm making progress every day, and I'm seeing my account grow every day. So if that's what makes you happy, then guess what that's gonna do? Help you focus on a strategy where you're taking profit a little bit every day. So this way, you are now seeing your account grow, and that's what's gonna make you happy. Maybe for you, what's going to make you happy is learning and understanding about a new company that you didn't know about. So now you can see the next diamond in the rough, the next gold mine that's going to be profitable for you in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And you like discovering these things in the markets. You got to find whatever situation you're in, whether it's the stock market, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's at your job, whether it's in your fitness journey, whatever journey that you're on, whatever environments that you encounter, you have to focus on how it is that it can make you happy first, right? And it's not a selfish happy. It's a happy where it's like, I can endure this because I am getting this, right? I was just talking to I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and they were talking about they were interviewing for a job, right? They got their current job, and they were interviewing for another job because they're just, always good when you're in the corporate space to keep your options open. So this way you can, zigzag up the corporate ladder, whether it's through different corporations. So this way you can continue to elevate and you don't get stuck in a situation where you're tied down and you're not getting the promotion and the elevation that you succeed, right? So they were telling me about the interview, and basically they're in a situation where company one, where they currently work at, they like it. It's got some good things going on there. It's got and they're in a good position, and they're happy there, right? Then there's another job that might offer more money, but it might offer a better position, a better role, but it might not offer the same happiness or the same environment as this other role. So what do you do in that situation? What makes you happy? Is the chasing the dollar making you happy? Or is for you the work-life balance more important? That's the question they had to answer, right? Is you getting this new title the thing that's really most important to you? Or is the fact that when you are in control, the control that you have right now in this corporation, in this environment, does that allow you to control your projects and have the leadership traits and skills that you want to have, and also be able to be in a managerial role, X, Y, and Z, right? And through that conversation, you know what we decided? Her current situation, despite she made less money, despite she didn't have the same role, was still a better play, or maybe something that gave her the happiness that she enjoyed right now, rather than that next move that had a higher salary, or that had a higher position. Focus on what's going to make you happy first. We get caught up all the time and getting caught up on other things, such as I need to be in a relationship, but guess what? That man's not making you happy, or that girl's not making you happy. I need to be making more money, but the job that you're at is unfulfilling. It's not making you happy. I need to be having a certain title at a certain point in my career, but guess what? The roles and responsibilities that you're in right now gives you no time for anything else that you really enjoy, like spending time with your family, or going to ball games, or having a work-life balance. Like, you have to get this right, because we gotta feel mentally stronger. We feel mentally stronger when we are happy. I appreciate you, Moyo. Of course, drop a like, guys. Drop and subscribe to the channel as always. Always trying to drop more game on you, right? But understand this, right? When it comes down to being mentally strong, we're all gonna make mistakes, and there's no risk where there equals no reward. Okay? Where you're trying to be mentally strong, where you're trying to be happy, where you're trying to have better emotions and stronger attitudes and control those things, you have to understand that you can only develop yourself if you have the courage to take the risk. You can only become mentally stronger if you have the willingness to be stretched. If you have the willingness to go into the areas that you otherwise are a little bit uncertain about. Whether your challenge is about leaving your current job to start your own business, or breaking unhealthy relationships, it's all about taking risks to move to that next level in life and seizing the opportunity. Breaking new ground and achieving new goals means taking risks you once thought was impossible. The word itself gives you the best clue, right? Impossible means what? I'm possible. You are possible. You are able to achieve the things that you want to achieve. But where you're not willing to be stretched, where you're not willing to experience something new, where you're not willing to be uncomfortable, where you're not willing to endure something where you don't have all the answers, or where there's a little bit of uncertainty, guess what? You're not going to build that mental strength. You're not going to build that fortitude. You're not going to build that resiliency. What comes from a situation where you know how the outcome is always going to be? What comes from understanding? What strength comes from always knowing the answer? What questions come from always knowing the answer? Exactly. No questions come from where you always know the answer. So for you, you got to live a life where you can put things into question based off of the actions that you're taking, right? So when you take these certain risks, you might not know how it's going to play out, But that's the question that you're seeking to solve, right? If I take this risk, if I take this step, if I take this leap, what can happen? A lot of times we're thinking about what's the worst that can happen, but a lot of times we don't think about what can happen, what is possible, not what's impossible. And for us, life is all about taking those risks so that we can seize the opportunity so we can get to that next level. And a lot of us, the reason why we don't have that mental strength, the reason why we give up, is because we're not accustomed to taking large enough risks. And I'm not telling you to take a risk that puts you in a situation where you're necessarily your back is against the wall and you're now fighting to survive. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a risk that stretches you to a point where you're a little bit uncomfortable, where it stretches you to a point where you don't have all the questions answered, where you don't have all the boxes checked, where all the variables are just not in your control, but you still have the ability to still understand that, you know what? I can control myself in this environment. I can manifest certain things in this environment. I can make certain actions in this environment that's going to change how the result that I see for myself. I can change the failure that I possibly can encounter. And I know a lot of times when we talk about I can and I can change this, it's sounding like a snap of the finger or something that's just going to instantly and automatically happen. What I mean by that is it can happen. It will happen. But it might not happen in the time frame that we want it to. It might not happen in the way that we wanted it to. But it can still happen. A lot of times, right, when we think about success and we think about the things that are possible for our lives, we think about it not only from a standpoint of this is going to happen, but we have a way that it's going to happen. We have a way where it's like, this is going to happen because of this, and it's going to happen this way at this time. We have like this whole picture, this whole vision dreamed up, which is nothing wrong with that, right? Instead of, a lot of times, the goal is a lot more straightforward than just that. If you want to be building generational wealth, then build generational wealth. Is it going to happen through the stock market? Is it going to happen through real estate? Is it going to happen through business ownership? Is it going to happen through passing down of other types of assets, right? How are you going to build it? But we have a picture typically which we draw around it, which is like, oh, it's going to happen like this, it's going to happen like that, it's going to happen like this, it's going to happen like that. And then what typically happens is, unless we can have all those different pieces aligned and put into position, we don't move forward with the goal. So unless it's like, all right, I'm going to be having generational wealth first through real estate, then once I have that cash flowing, then I'm going to take that cash flow, and I'm going to move into the stock market, and then from there, once I have a little bit more time, then I'm going to start a business. Like, we put all these things in front of us instead of just saying, you know what? What's the simple goal? Simplify it. What's the thing that I can control right now? Generational wealth for me? All right, cool. Stocks is a way for me to do that? Cool. There's stocks out here that are $10. Cool. That I make $10 in a week, or I can allocate $10 out of my budget a week to buy a stock. Cool. Like, let's simplify it. But a lot of times we are not able to do this, right? Because we don't have the mental strength to see the goal all the way through. Because now we have all these different distractions. We have all these different things that are pulling our focus, that are pulling our attention. Then we get the analysis paralysis that I talk about all the time. Then we decide not to take the risk. And then guess what? We don't see any of the reward. The mental strength that we're going to get from setting goals, from mastering our emotions, from holding ourselves accountable, from making ourselves happy, from focusing on the reward and really being able to take the risks in order to achieve that, those are going to be the things that in 2023 is going to change your situation. Those are going to be the things in 2023 that is going to allow you to keep pushing forward when other people have been quitting. That is going to be the thing that is preparing you for the next bull market because you've endured a bear market for the last 18 months. That is going to be the thing that is going to allow you to keep working and to keep pushing despite the fact that you don't want to, or despite the fact that you want to quit. Understand this, okay? The mental toughness that you're looking to achieve is all about faith in yourself. And the way that you be yourself is going to define the faith that you are going to have every day. Bruce Lee said, always be yourself and have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and try to duplicate it. Don't go out and try to find David Goggins' mental fortitude. For you, it might not come from running ultra marathons. Don't go out and try to find Joe Rogan's version of mental strength, because it might not come from Muay Thai or for fighting. Don't go out and try to find somebody else's version of you. Those can be influences. Those can be things that you can try. Those can be things that you can implement into your process. And trust me, like, I tried a bunch of different things that I hear different gurus and experts talk about. Don't just try to be like them. Do what works for you and aligns with your personality and aligns with you as a person. Because when you're different, sometimes you don't see the millions of people who accept you for what you are. All you notice is the person who doesn't. And for you, my friends, it's about you accepting you for you. It's about you enjoying you for you and the things that you can do. I put out a tweet yesterday and I said, I don't know who needs to hear this, right? But no one's got you like you got you. Don't seek validation. Don't seek acceptance. Seek self-love and worth. And that is what mental fortitude's about. Because when you no longer need other people to check the box off for you, when you no longer need other people to accept you, when you don't need that position to be perfectly aligned with you, when you don't need certain things to be perfectly right for you, don't worry about it. You're seeking that self-love and that self-worth because you know what's going to be the best thing for you. And I understand that it's easier said than done in certain situations and in certain environments. It's easier to do certain things, to say, oh, take control of your career than dealing with a relationship where, your family's a big influence on it. That might be easier. But what I'm telling you is one thing that we have to do going into this new year is that we have to be strong enough for us. You have to be strong enough for you, because you're trying to build generational wealth. You're not going to be able to build it if you're not strong enough. How are you going to build a generation, multiple people, multiple lineages, multiple trees? How are you going to be able to build that if you're not strong enough? How are you going to be able to take on that burden if you are not able to bear the weight? How are you going to be able to keep pushing forward if you're not able to be strong enough? Our strength is bigger than our muscles. It's bigger than our heart. It's bigger than our spirit. It's bigger than our passion. It's up here. It's a very tangible thing. Our brain is a muscle, just like any other muscle. We have to focus on stretching this like we stretch these biceps and our triceps and these other muscles. We have to focus on building this like we build our pecs and we build our bank accounts and we build everything else. We have to focus on tapping into that voice in our mind and that tells us that we can do it. And we have to silence that voice that's telling us that we can't. But don't waste your energy trying to change opinions. Don't waste your energy trying to be things that you're not. Don't waste energy trying to make other people see where you're coming from. Do your thing and don't care whether if they like it or not. Understand that you have your plan. Do what's making you happy and do the things that's allowing for you to stretch yourself, to take the risks that other people won't. Because when you do that, I promise you, you're going to discover more about yourself than you ever thought possible. When I took the risk of walking away from my job and becoming a full-time entrepreneur, I discovered more about myself than I ever thought. When I took the risk to go out and everybody in my family's gone to the same university called Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama. It's a private Christian school. It's the first person in my family not to go there. But when I took that risk, guess what? I was deciding to challenge something and become something different. It's okay to make certain risks. It's okay to challenge certain things because you know where you're going. You know where you're headed. Not everybody's going to agree with it, but that is okay because that mental fortitude from resistance is going to be the thing that is going to make you stronger. And I want you today, I want you this weekend, I want you this week, I want you for the rest of the year to focus on putting yourself in certain situations, to look at certain environments and say, what do I need to do to be mentally stronger? For you, being mentally strong is not trading when you've been losing. That might be mentally stronger. For you, mentally stronger might be waking up earlier and going to a gym or going and undertaking a project and start working on that business or that brand. Being mentally stronger it comes in different shapes and sizes for all of us. But you know what you need to do because there's that voice in that back of that head and it's called your potential. It's called your potential, and it knows the person that you've always been meant to be. And it always knows the person that you are capable of becoming. And if you don't listen to that voice, if you don't figure out what I got to do to become that person, you are choosing to take the easy route. You are choosing to take the path of least resistance. You are choosing to not be mentally strong enough for the position that you are meant to become. And as a result, you might end up just like Amia Thermopolis, where you're in a position where you could be a queen, where you've always meant to be a queen or a princess or a king or a prince or a millionaire. But you could be in a position or an environment because you never believed in yourself enough, or you never knew that you were capable enough, or you never knew that you had the skill sets enough to be that person, to be that thing that you were always meant to become. Don't let any more time pass you by before we really tap into who we were meant to be and who we were put on this earth to become and who we were put on this earth to influence and to impact. And that mental fortitude to be able to overcome all the things that are going to stop us on the path is going to be the thing that allows us to keep moving forward, to be ready and prepared for that next level, but to continue to seek out a higher level for ourselves and for that next step in our journey. I appreciate you guys tapping into First Call today. As always, let's continue to get better. Let's continue to get to that next level. And I will see you guys on Monday at 5:30 again on Twitter Spaces. Can't wait to hear from you guys. Let's get to it and let's get to that money later.